Alright, for problem number 6, we're looking at this particular part of the problem. We're looking at simplifying this, and so I'm going to do tan negative 1 to the square root of 3 first. So that's the square root of 1, or square root of 3 over 1 for the tangent. So this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle where this is the 60. Now since we're doing this in radians, 60 degrees is pi over 3. So we have the sine of 1/2 times pi over 3. Well, what is 1/2 of pi over 3? Well, when we multiply those together, we get pi over 6. Now, since pi over 6, when I do this in degrees, is 30, and we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, that's 1, that's 2, and that's the square root of 3. So the sine turns out to be the opposite over the hypotenuse, which means our answer is 1/2. Alright, in this problem, the first question I want to know is what is the minimum here? Well, the minimum is the middle minus the amplitude, so 4 minus 3 is 1. The second thing I would want to know is the maximum, which is the middle plus the vertical shift plus the amplitude, which in this case is 7. And C, what happens if theta equals 5? Well, this one we just have to plug in our calculator. And when we plug that in, my answer turns out to be 1.057. Okay, this is the first of our graphing ones. And my middle is at -2. And since my amplitude is 4, my maximum is going to be 2. And my minimum is going to be -6. Now, since nothing happened with the period is going to stay at 2 pi. And in the middle of 0 and 2 pi is pi. And in the middle of pi and 2 pi is 1.5 pi, or 3 pi over 2. And in between 0 and pi is pi over 2. So we start with cosine at the top, move to the middle, to the bottom, then we work our way back up to the top. So there's one cycle of my cosine graph. Alright, we got one more here to graph. My amplitude is 5, my vertical shift is 3, and if theta plus pi equals 0, then theta equals -pi, and my period is not going to change because there's nothing in front of the theta, so my period is 2 pi. So if I start my period at -pi, and I add 2 pi, well, -1 plus 2 is obviously 1, so we're going to end my sine curve at pi. Since the middle was 3, my maximum should be 8, and my minimum should be -2. For a sine graph, well, 0 is right in the middle, -pi over 2, and pi over 2. We start in the middle, and sine goes up first, then back to the middle, down to the bottom, and there is my sine graph. And make sure when you're taking your test, you make the mark so I know exactly where your curves begin and end. I do not want to see this, because I have no idea what that means without any markings. And that is it for our review.